Another arcade conversion. Narc is a side-scrolling shooter of quite mind-numbing mediocrity in the arcade. So the conversions to home micro were in a bad spot to start with. Narc was an early example of using digitized sprites, which certainly made it stand out in the arcade. It also sported some, for the time, extremely gory action where giblets would fly about all over the place. So, plot is you're after Mr. Big, and to get the high you need to blast away scum across 8 levels, picking up drugs, cash and power-ups. End-of-level bad guys are present and correct, but there is nothing here remotely original. The 64 version is a brave attempt, and is at least a playable game. Graphics are a mess with blocky sprites and ugly backgrounds, using a bizarre choice of coloring, making everything look like you've sampled the contents of the stuff the bad guys leave behind. Sound is much better with a great chiptune that complements the mindless action well. The action itself is pretty mindless from start to finish, but your helmeted avatar moves well, and the shooting is mostly satisfying in the short term. But the fact is this isn't a compelling game, and wears out its welcome quickly. The Amiga version is a whole different kettle of pissings, and not in a good way. First up, in still shots, this looks good with some detailed sprites and backgrounds, but all moves poorly with limited frames of animation, making your character look like he's mincing his way to justice. Sound has some of the digitized effects, but is otherwise mediocre. But it's the important bit, the gameplay, where the Amiga version shits the bed. It is awful to play with stiff and unresponsive controls, which wouldn't be so bad if the game didn't throw an entire fucking kennel of attack dogs at you that can only be shot whilst crouching, which is frustratingly difficult, leading to your boy getting his nuts constantly chewed off. So, either play the arcade original or the 64 version, and steer, well, clear this one, as it's most certainly not the dog's bollocks. Thumbs down.
We got it.
You're busted. You're busted. You're busted. You're busted. You're busted. You're busted.